What was it about the My House project that made you want to support us?
I think in the beginning, I just really connected with the fact that when I was growing up, as I probably said on episode 3, woke up one day and my mom said she was going on a job interview and never came back. And my dad worked on the North Slope. It was back in the day when it was 10 weeks on, 1 week off and no cell phones or anything. So
Right.
my dad had no idea what had happened. And we lived in Meadow Lakes, and you could imagine in 1971.
Oh,
And so we kind of just bounced around with different neighbors. And finally, one of the neighbors said, "Hey, we're going to move to Palmer. Do you want to go with us?" Well, what were we going to say? Like, no, we're going to stay here by ourselves. I was 12. My brother was 11. My sister was 13, but she had gone to Nebraska to live with my aunt and uncle. I have no idea why, and that was kind of another thing, like, why didn't our aunt and uncle take me and my brother too,
right.
right? But back then you just I don't know, I didn't ask questions, I just thought, Okay, my sister needs my aunt and uncle," and I just thought my brother and I'll be fine, and so we moved to Palmer with this family. So for a while, we kind of just bounced around, and so we moved to Palmer. That family, unfortunately, was a very dysfunctional family, and they were physically abusive to my brother. They beat him with whips or ropes and belts, and if he did anything wrong, forgot to feed his rabbits one day or just anything. So they're abusive to him in that way and very verbally abusive. um, and when I was a freshman in high school, their own daughter went off to college, and she had confided in me that the dad had been abusive to her. She said, "But don't worry, it won't happen to you." Well, as soon as she went to college, right, it started on me. And I just remember in the 10th grade, I'd gone to prom. And when I got home, the mom had gone with the son to look at colleges. And so I was by myself. And it's just one of those reflexes. And I don't remember if I told this story, but it was one of those that was so traumatic because he came in my room and I just thought, I'm going to fight now or never. And I just went berserk, like screaming, yelling, and he was like throwing everything off of I just didn't know what else to do but just be out of control, like hoping that he'd think I was in cray cray land,
Right.
and I just remember exactly what he said to me. He goes, "You should never do that when someone's trying to rape you." And I'm thinking, I think it was a pretty good decoy. And the next day, while he was at work, I packed up my stuff in my car and went to school, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And that weekend, I was a cheerleader. We went on a road trip and they stole my car out of the parking lot. It's just one of those things. It just keeps compounding. You're like, can you do any more, pardon my French, shitty things to me?
Right.
Right. And I'm trying so hard. And I just remember going and seeing the high school counselor, and I think she knew stuff was going on. And I didn't really tell her exactly what was going on, just I was having trouble and I was trying to find a place to live. And I listed her house for sale years later. And she told me at the time, your grades were good. You were number 3 in your class. You were in cheerleading, you were in drama, you were in cross country, you were always at the school. So I just figured you were doing okay. Honestly, that was just my coping mechanism.
Right.